Take a look at this. This is a Ben Roethlisberger in honor of the Steelers quarterback. And this is pretty cool. They've even imported Iron City beer all the way from Pittsburgh here to Arizona. I might have to take this one home as a souvenir.
We should mention we love your hat in all of this.
You know what? I've gotten a lot of comments about this hat, but the main thing, Katie, is that it keeps me warm. He tells me that Fire Station 21 is now secure. There's no longer a threat there, nor is there any threat at this point to the trucking company. But there is now a new threat, apparently, to a school.
Boyfriend from driving away.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. The sheriff says she first used her own 2 small children there in the front and here in the back to block her boyfriend's truck in. If that wasn't bad enough, she's accused of taking her puppy and placing the small dog directly in the path of the rear tires. In this particular neighborhood, it's happening at least once a week. You know, I was under the impression that once you set something out at the curb, it's pretty much fair game for anyone. Turns out, though, that if you take anything really out of someone else's bin, you're breaking the law. Yeah, we're getting absolutely pummeled, Steve. I'd say about dime-sized hail, as you can tell. Heavy rain. Lots of lightning in the area and strong winds. Let me step out of the way. As you said, yeah, he's a pretty remarkable guy, Katie. He ventured out onto this old rickety bridge, not knowing if it would give way in all the floodwaters, but by risking his own life, he managed to save 2 others. For 21-year-old Stephanie DeLabio, thankfully, somebody other than the photographer aboard Air 15 was watching as she tried to drive across these floodwaters. So too was David Rhodes.
Luckily, I just seen the car attempting to go through there out of the corner of my eye. And when I seen the car, I knew she was going to be in trouble.
The water in the fast-running wash quickly lifted Stephanie's car and began floating her and her 1-year-old daughter in the back seat helplessly downstream.
Started running down the backyard of that home to follow the car and to see if I could help them.
The car eventually became wedged underneath a pedestrian bridge that crosses the wash. Without hesitating, David bravely walked out onto the rickety bridge to help.
You can see the car filling up with water as you're trying to get them out, and it was moving pretty fast.
David courageously lowered himself onto the hood of the car, at which point Stephanie handed him her daughter.
I was afraid it was going to give away when I got the 2-year-old out there. I thought the bridge might take off.
The bridge held, and David managed to pull Stephanie to safety as well. David doesn't consider himself a hero, but plenty of others do.
It's fantastic. The Good Samaritan that came through and pulled him out, we want to make sure that he knows how much we thank him for saving them. They were definitely stuck. There's no doubt about it.
Now, I've been in touch with the family all afternoon. They tell me that Stephanie and her daughter are doing just fine. In fact, we're going to be talking with Stephanie here in just a couple of minutes. Look for that interview tonight on ABC 15 News at 10. Live in Apache Junction, Tim Vetscher, ABC 15 News.
That's where we find ABC 15's Tim Vetscher. Tim, first of all, glad you're okay. What happened out there?
Well, Katie, it's still unclear tonight exactly what led up to all of this. What we do know is that 2 people were stabbed, as you say, and 1 man threatened to make me victim number 3. Police say you stabbed somebody. Is that true? After stabbing a man, police say literally right in front of them. With the camera rolling, this man threatened to do it again. What is this all about?
If you keep asking questions, I'm going to stab you. How's that?
It all started, investigators claim, at the apartment complex next door, where 2 men got into a knife fight. One of the men walked over to this neighboring pizza shop. Phoenix police officers were treating the man when a 3rd person, this man, rushed in and stabbed the man in the chest.
But he hid behind one of these poles over here. And then when the guy walked out, he just started stabbing him like numerous times.
The man refused to drop his knife, police say, until they drew their guns and he surrendered.
Although it's very, very unusual for someone to stab somebody right in the presence of a police officer, it certainly can happen, and it did happen today.
And after witnessing him stab 1 man, police then watched our videotape of the man threatening to make me next.
If you keep asking questions, I'm going to stab you. How's that?
Now, the 2 stabbing victims were taken to nearby hospitals. Both underwent surgery tonight, and they are currently listed in critical condition. Live in Phoenix, Tim Vetscher, ABC 15 News, your Valley News leader.
All right.
Head west on I-10. Follow the Colorado River north to Route 66 and just 13 miles down the road. It'll feel as though you step back in time. Welcome to Oatman, Arizona, an old ghost town that still looks and feels the same as it did 100 years ago.
Aren't too many places like this left.
The first thing you'll notice on your way into town are the burros, the unofficial mascot of Oatman. The burros were brought to this area by miners looking for gold years ago. However, when the mines closed during World War II, the miners left town, yet the Burrows clearly stuck around.
We say that they own the town. They just let us live here as long as we behave.
Feed them a few carrots and you'll make some fast friends.
The Burrows don't have a clue that they're a tourist attraction. They're just following their bellies.
You can follow your own belly to the Oatman Hotel restaurant, where you'll find not only their world-famous buffalo burger, but also walls covered in currency. It started when miners would tack dollar bills onto the walls to cover their beer tabs. The tradition has continued over the years, and it's now estimated this place holds $50,000 just in ones.
And then it just evolved, and now people like you come from all over the world, actually, and put up a dollar to say that they've been here.
The oldest bill dates back to 1932. Write your John Hancock on a George Washington, and you too can forever secure a place in Oatman history. The sun is directly overhead, and that makes it high noon here in the Wild West, which can mean only one thing, really: time for a gunfight.
The goal's staying here.
Every day, the Oatman outlaws do battle along Main Street. A shootout complete with Outlaw Willie, his double-crossing partner, and of course, the sheriff.
Somebody say go!
The fake fight raises real money for charity.
It's so much fun and doing it for good causes.
And like most places in Arizona, from the valley, an Oatman outing will only cost you 1 tank of gas. Tim Vetscher, ABC 15 News. Actually, they stole them right off the shore of this pond here behind me, but the Swan fought back, and all the thieves got was a fistful of feathers. Just off the 6th tee at the Deer Valley Lake Golf Course swims 2 swans so well known around here they actually have names.
The male is Billy and the female is Millie.
But Billy and Millie are 2 foul fowls.
Billy, Millie.
Some would even say downright mean.
They are very aggressive and can be very nasty.
Thursday morning, someone tried to steal these surly swans and may have gotten away with it if not for greenskeeper Heriberto Salas.
He didn't know what was going on. At first he thought maybe it was somebody that was supposed to pick him up. You know, somebody was here, one of the Swan crew coming to take him, but then I guess he realized that something wasn't right.
Heriberto says 2 men had Billy by the neck and were making a beeline with the bird.
He just went over and asked them what they were doing, asked them where they're taking it, said, hey man, what are you doing? Where are you taking it? And I guess they dropped it and they took off two directions and jumped in the truck and hit the road.
Turns out having a bird in the hand like Billy is worth $200, maybe $300.
They could be resold because these 2 are of age where they are a mating pair.
But the would-be swan nappers left empty-handed, leaving Billy and Millie still free as birds. Even though he did lose a few feathers, it doesn't seem that Billy suffered any injuries in the altercation. As for the thieves, they managed to get away. Live in Sun City West, Tim Vetscher, ABC 15 News, your Valley News leader. Yeah, that's right, Steve. After all, they're expecting tens of thousands of people to pass through these tents here behind me. Because of that, Glendale is inspecting the building process very closely. Today, we were given an exclusive behind-the-scenes look. Call it Tent City North. But with all due respect to Sheriff Joe, these tents are a lot more elaborate.
It is a big undertaking.
Workers have less than 3 weeks to get everything built, meaning they'll have to work fast. It's Justine Cornelius' job to make sure, first and foremost, they do the job right.
The concern is that it's so fast-paced. You know, I mean, things are going up overnight, so to stay with to stay on schedule with the folks, we're out here every day now.
These particular tents will house the NFL Experience, a sort of theme park for football fans.
So what you're looking at here is the actual inside of the tent for the running game.
But before the games get underway, Justine and crew will inspect the floorboards, the overhead beams, and seemingly everything in between.
The anchoring of the tents is being looked at. The electrical connections are being looked at.
If there is a code violation, inspectors hope to catch it sooner rather than later.
It's easier to start and work with them at the beginning than it is to race in at the end and try and make sure that everything is right.
But with less than 3 weeks to go, everything here seems to be going smoothly. And you'll notice they're building the NFL Experience here on one of the stadium's parking lots. To make up for some of the spots they're losing, the stadium has built a temporary makeshift lot, if you will, just south of the stadium, and they're expected to open up additional spaces near Westgate. Live in Glendale, Tim Vetscher, ABC 15 News, your Valley News leader.